Ah, nothing like a good old cup of coffee in the morning, huh? Oh, hi there. It's been a while, hasn't it? I haven't made these kind of videos in a long time, but I'm back, don't you worry, and more will come in the future. But I think after today's video, I'm going to need a drink. Much better. I'm drunk.
A few moments later.
Disney, a company full of magic, wonder, joy, and every single other company known in existence. But besides being owners of properties such as Star Wars to Marvel, they are more well known for their own in-house film productions with classics such as Beauty and the Beast, Peter Pan, The Lion King, 101 Dalmatians, and who can forget those 3 round circles? Michael wrote it.
I kinda would like that sound if you put it inside of my...
And as with any existing movie company, video games would inevitably flood the shelves. And no, I'm not just talking about Kingdom Hearts either. And there are more grand games under this IP spanning multiple console generations, including Mickey Mousecapade and DuckTales, which gave us this gem of a soundtrack. And today, I'll be looking through some of these Disney games, but they do not include Pixar. That's its own category of games I'd like to do a separate video on. With that said, let's start by looking at one of the first ever video games by this IP. Sorcerer's Apprentice for the Atari 2600. The title screen looks like Mickey, so that's promising at least. But as soon as I start the game, though, I see this. First off, that's not Mickey, that's a man in an afro wearing a nightcap. Second, I have no clue what I am doing. I am just shooting at falling stars, and all I get is points for collecting them. Now, you gotta remember, this is the Atari 2600, so this is a time where you had to read the manual, but since I don't have that, I had to go in blind. And this was a time where they didn't give you so much as a cookie and you had to figure everything out on your own. So if you bought this game used, even back in the day, sorry buddy, you're out of luck. There's no tutorial. So I kept shooting at these stars until I realized that the music I'm hearing is not just part of the background. See this meter at the bottom of the screen? That isn't your health bar, or completion meter, or a timer, no. If I walk over to either side, I'm brought to another screen. Basically, that meter tells you how far up the water has gone. Once full, the game is over. And how does it fill up? Well, broomsticks fly down, you have to catch them before they reach the bottom, and they appear when a star falls between any of these 2 mountains here. And then you create buckets to empty the water. However, to me, it looks more like an imposter from Among Us. And how do you get these? Well, you get these by shooting meteors, of course. You wouldn't know any of this unless it was by a complete accident or read the manual. Now, of course, Disney games had to start somewhere. And for the first game, it's not that bad. However, this is the only Atari game that was released. We didn't see more until the NES, where we were pleased with Who Framed Roger Rabbit for the NES. Yeah, remember this movie? I do. It was the same idea as Space Jam, except with a more seductive-looking anthropomorphic character. These days, y'all go ballistic over Lola Bunny, but in 1988, people were gooning this thing. All things considered, though, the NES had some good games for Disney, like the previously mentioned Mickey Mousecapade and DuckTales, and so on. So, what could possibly make this one be any different? Oh, wait. It's made by LJN. Of course, this game had to be made by LJN. Why the hell wouldn't it be? I played two of the worst movie tie-in games from this company already, Bill and Ted and Beetlejuice. But I cannot wait to be done with this one so I can never pick it up again. No, I must mention this again like I did with the last two. LJN is just a publisher, much like Activision is with their games. They don't have any physical involvement with them. However, they both have a say-so in the game's development and instruct them on how to make it. And Bill and Ted was made by Rocket Science Games. Which is funny because you need to know rocket science in order to figure out how to play that damn game. However, I made a mistake and I accidentally said Donkey Kong's Bad Fur Day instead of Conker's Bad Fur Day, so I apologize for that mix-up. With that said though, who developed Roger Rabbit? Well, it's Rare again. Which means I'm expecting this game to have random ass hazards for no reason. Oh, look, I was right. How am I supposed to know that flower pot was supposed to fall? And guess what? It's one-hit kill too. What a load of fucking bullshit. Fucking bullshit. So the main thing you're doing in this game is going around searching drawers, rat holes, trash cans, anything to find what you're looking for. Because obviously, you need to look through these things to end homelessness. I'm kidding, of course. And then you can buy some items from the shop. However, this is where I had to look up how this works. First off, there's only one item at the shop at a time, so you have to walk in and out of the store to find something that is needed in order to progress. And then buying it is its own puzzle, because you need to have your wallet. So I go around looking for it at the beginning of the game, but I tried pressing the select button, and it didn't change. You know what you gotta do? You have to hold the select button and press the D-pad to select an item. What kind of fucking convoluted shit is this? And if you happen to disagree with me on this, and you think this game is still good, not to worry. You can have my Jeff peanut butter. And speaking of, I'm kinda hungry, but problem is, I don't know how to cook. So how about we learn together by playing My Disney Kitchen. This game is a point-and-click game. You just interact with the things on screen and try to cook something. However, there is no freedom with what you can cook with and what you can't. You need to use the specific ingredients to the recipe, and you cannot make any decisions about how you make your own food. For example, if I want to cook pasta in the kettle, which is actually a clever way of cooking it in a fast way rather than boiling water in a pot, but the game does not let me. Come on, game, this is supposed to be my Disney kitchen, and in my damn kitchen, if I want to make a cake in a crock pot, I fucking will! I actually lied about not being able to cook, actually. This is one of the pizzas I made. Yeah. Looks good, doesn't it?
The sky is falling. The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
What's that noise?
The sky is falling. 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 The sky is falling.
This damn chicken, you know what? If you're still here by the time I get done with this next game, I'm turning you into a fucking sandwich. Does anyone remember this movie? Chicken Little? I do. And I remember playing this game as well. What can I say about the movie other than the fact that it's a mid-2000s movie about a chicken who says the sky is falling, becomes a butt of a joke in the town for wasting their time. Later finding out that a piece of an alien spacecraft disguised as the sky hits him in the head and gives us the best meme from the movie of all time.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Want to know what's even funnier about this game? It's available on Steam. However, once I boot up the game, to my own surprise, this game was developed by Avalanche Games. If that name sounds familiar to you, that's because they made Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, the turf game. So, back to Chicken Little. And I think I'll play on hard mode. So the game begins with a chip. So the game begins with a clip from the movie right in the middle of the first 5 minutes of it, where everyone is calling out the crazy chicken. What is he crazy about? Believing the earth is flat? Which probably isn't far off considering he thought the sky is falling, but the game does not tell you that. We missed the bus and now we gotta get to school on foot. Or paws. Yeah, paws, and not claws or talons. Chickens are the only avian creature that has paws as the name of their feet, at least in the meat industry. However, they are called phoenix talons in Chinese cuisine. Make it make sense. We suddenly find ourselves in a forest setting, which was not in the movie by the way, and doesn't show Chicken Little losing his pants, which he lost by gum on the road. But later in cutscenes he's shown to have the paper pants on, but then not have them in the game after that. That's the type of laziness I only expect from an EA game, so we're off to a poor start. Then we get to the actual gameplay. My first impressions are it's an entry-level platformer, and to be honest, it isn't the worst platforming I ever played. Sure, it's basic, but there isn't anything wrong with it. You even have your yo-yo to beat up and climb poles with, but not every single pole. Which, by the way, was in the bus chase scene in the movie, but he used a flower instead of a yo-yo. It almost feels like the developers were told to make levels without watching the movie first, and then put the cutscenes in as an afterthought. Look, they're even making memes of the crazy chicken.
Oh no! The sky is falling! Ooh, no! Ha! Loser!
I'd rather have a toy like this than the skibbity toilet plastered out at my toy store.
First the movie, now the merchandising? Aww.
Oh, you know full well that they would do this to someone who makes a fool of themselves. I mean, look no further than the President of the United States. And if you're offended by that statement, I do not give a cluck, so choke on my chicken. And by that I mean, something to note is that while I think the platforming is alright, there's other things about this game that really grind my gears. For example, the tooltip text pauses the game every time it pops up, and in the later stage, it pops up every few seconds, making the game slower and tedious to play through. So we get to the school and we figure out we can't get in. So what do? Well, we have to collect coins, and we use them to buy a pop. And coins look like pennies, which is inaccurate because even RC Cola and vending machines cost 50 cents to $1 in 2005. Maybe it takes place before 2005? But then again, it would have to take place after 1977, considering the fact Chicken Little sang "We Are the Champions" by Queen in the movie. But still, in 1977, RC Cola still costed 24 cents. Okay, we got our drink, now we rocket in the air and get to a flying minigame, where we dodge incoming barricades and fly into the window, then we get to dodgeball. And let me tell you, the dodgeball section is harder than it looks. Aiming the ball is fine, and you can press a button to dodge, but you have to win best of 3 matches, which means you have to get through 5 matches, and if you lose, you have to start all over. You're supposed to be able to catch the ball, but the only way of doing that is if it hits someone else, which is not how I remember dodgeball at all. I even tried that and was only able to catch the ball once, but that doesn't make the player that threw it get out. So after all of that busy work doing at least 20 attempts just to play dodgeball, we get to probably by far the hardest and most rage-inducing part of the game for me. I'm not kidding when I say it, but it took me 10 minutes to beat this. And this is only a minute and 40-second long stage. Don't believe me? Let's count how many single fails are on screen here.
I'll get you for that.
Other than that, this game is not really worth playing, as even if the platforming isn't bad, it's plagued by the tutorial text slowing the game down, the bullshit chase scene, the superfluous levels that don't really make the game that fun to begin with, and do you want to know what's worse about all this? There's another game, and it's called Ace in Action. Why does this exist? Just why? Who asked for it? So you know that movie from the end of the film where they made an action hero movie with Chicken Little and his friends? Well, take that and make that its own game. Except it's a game in the Chicken Little universe where Chicken Little is playing the game. I swear, you could make a drinking game out of how many times I say chicken in this video. But you know what? I prefer this game over the original game. Sure, it has its flaws, but the game is way more fun to play. My only complaint is the non-vehicle sections are slow and could really do with a dash mechanic, and the hacking segments could be a bit of a snore. But the flying levels are dogfights and are quite fun actually. You could say that it isn't the best game in the world, not really worth putting hours into or anything like that, but the game is alright. Kinda reminds me of Recore. And you know what? Avalanche didn't stop there. They didn't stop until they hit the bottom. So let's keep the avalanche going and play Bolt for the Xbox 360. And you know what? This is probably the better game of the three so far. Again, still not the best game, but it's still a really good game, even for a movie tie-in game. So for each stage, you switch between playing as either Bolt or Penny. When you play as Penny, you have stealth missions that actually feel very good for a kid's game, and using this grapple to get out of reach areas, as well as using it as a weapon. And Bolt, you unlock powers as you progress, including his super bark. And you're rewarded for making combos when you attack, as some moves require energy, and the more combos you pull off, the more energy you get. And the more energy you have, the more powerful moves you can perform. And one power requires you to land combos in order to activate in the first place. Other than that though, this is a good game we have here. I'm stunned. Both moves hit the bad guys so hard you'll experience vertigo from the G-forces. And speaking of G-forces, let's play G-Force for the Xbox 360. Oh boy, this movie, oh man, it was dreadful. This was out during the writer's strike back in 2009, and it's plagued by some of the worst trends in movie history. Plots so mundane with storytelling even a kid could see plot holes, pop culture music thrown in just to appeal to the masses, but don't fit in with the vibe of the film at all, and casting celebrities just to boost ticket sales. I'll be 100% honest with you, however. The game controls really well, and the game has a good variety to it without feeling like none of it belongs. You get to shoot guns as a guinea pig. What other game allows you to fucking do that? And you also get a laser whip. Jesus Christ, how is this game hitting so hard? You even get to play as Mooch to hack security and slow down time. Why are we using guinea pigs if this fly has a goddamn time stone? I am shocked by how hard this game is hitting. Hell, you even get to buy upgrades and ammo. You know what game this is reminding me of actually? Ratchet & Clank. I am not joking. It's the same game but with guinea pigs. I swear, they nailed a hole in this one with this game. And they probably got that hole in one by playing Disney Golf on the PlayStation 2. It's a golf game. That's mostly true with this game, and it works. It works. So I can't say anything negative about it really, besides having a low roster of characters. But something that is cool is there's power-ups you can use, which are limited, so use them wisely. There's even some that allows you to hinder your opponent's performance as well. Other than that, it's an okay game, nothing to drive home about though. Get it? Drive? Cause you have a driver club? Jesus Christ. I hope no, that's going into the bloopers. Oh, my head just went flying across the room.
Well, hello there.
It's a bug. I have a knife, and I'm not afraid to fucking use it. Why does PS1 FMV have to be so goddamn creepy? Like, this is disgusting. And you know what? The graphics in the game aren't much better either, because it looks like Dale has rabies. I'm gonna try to leave here.
Where are you going, punk ass?
Nowhere. Yeah, nowhere. Just please don't hurt me. All jokes aside though, this game is basically racetracks based on attractions from Disney World, from Thunder Mountain to Tomorrowland to even Rock and Roll Roller Coaster, which does not have the Aerosmith music, instead replaces it with rather generic rock and roll music. But then again, neither will the real life one, as they're rebranding the coaster to be more family friendly. But the game itself is not bad. The tracks are great, it plays well. My only complaint is that there's no 4-player multiplayer, only 2 players. And this basically plays just like Mario Kart or Crash Team Racing, which came out before this one, yet that one had 4 multiplayer. Unless of course you get the Dreamcast version, which does have 4-player mode, which is absolutely strange to me because you could easily just get a multi-tap to play 4-player with this thing and it would still be able to play it, but somehow the 4-player mode was taken out of this game entirely. You know what, since we're playing a game that has wheels in it, you know what else has wheels? Skateboards. Which is why I'm going to play Disney Sports Skateboarding. This is one of the games in the Disney Sports series, and there are others with the same title as this one, not counting Disney Golf. That's its own separate game. You have soccer, football, and by that I mean American football, not the football you actually use your foot. There's also snowboarding, yeah, snowboarding because the game is a snore. There's also snowboarding, motocross, basketball, and this one, skateboarding. All of which is released exclusively for the GameCube, besides some getting Game Boy Advance ports. And motocross snowboarding being a GBA exclusive. I think I'll pick Max, as he is the only character of any of the Disney franchise that actually rides a skateboard in this game. And he also stands out above the crowd. And my god, does he stand out. And you cannot, I repeat, you cannot control this game like you want it to. The game wants you to race through these massive areas to complete objectives under a time limit. And unlike a Tony Hawk where you have an overtimer when you're in combo, this game literally kills the combo as soon as the timer runs out. Plus the fact that the levels are hard to navigate and are impossible to find your way around when you're being rushed. And the narrator is so goddamn annoying you wish you were deaf. And the controls are really messed up as well. B is your grind and lip tricks, X is flip tricks, while Y is your grab tricks. And you push the board by holding up on the left stick and not with the A button. That is a separate jump button. It blows my mind how bad this game is. It's worse than Pro Skater 5. I am dead fucking serious. That game may be buggy as all hell, but at least you can control the game better than this game. Actually, I changed my mind. Both games suck. Throw them both into a dumpster fire. I need to wash my mouth out after playing that game. So why don't we try another skateboarding game then? Like Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. So unlike the other game, this one has you playing as characters and playing in levels based on movies by Disney, including Toy Story, Tarzan, and The Lion King. And what's this? It's Toys for Bob! Yeah, Spyro Reignited Trilogy and Crash Bandicoot 4 Toys for Bob. And apparently, the devs held a contest to pick kids to be in the game, and the winners got to be playable characters. And you know what? This game is pretty good. And I mean really good. But why is it that this game is so good but the other one isn't? Well, that's because this game didn't try to reinvent the wheel, or try to be unique. Neversoft and Toys for Bob licensed the Tony Hawk 4 engine and copied it as a reskin for Disney characters and levels, including the licensing of music for the game. Now, I will be honest, the licensing for this music could be better, but of course they had to pick songs that were family friendly. But I feel like they should have picked more songs than just these ones. Something I'm not really fond of is each character is tied to each level. So you can only pick a Toy Story character to play in the Toy Story levels, for example. And then the kids you play as have their own level where they have basically a sub-world where you can go to each of the other levels. But to be honest, playing as the kids and in this sub-world isn't really that great. It's kind of hard to navigate through these stages, and I would not recommend playing this by playing through the kids section. It's way more fun just to play as an elephant in the Tarzan levels. Other than that, this is a really damn good shit we got here. By far the best game so far in this video. However, I'm not the best Tony Hawk player, so now Woody is gonna need some stitches. And speaking of stitches, let's play Lilo and Stitch for the PlayStation. But before I get to the game, I want to point out that this game is under a different title in Europe, called Lilo & Stitch Trouble in Paradise. And also, this game is made by Blitz Games. I had no idea the CEO of Immediate Murder Professional was also a game developer, which I guess is the reason why Lilo can perform witchcraft.
Hey, how you doing?
I think I had too much to drink. Alright, let's start the game and start playing. Oh, hello, Nani. Do you need some ibuprofen? You have a headache? So do you know what this game reminds me of? Here, I'll give you some hints. You run and jump through hallway-based levels, collect plant-based pickups from the ground, break open containers to find more pickups, and collecting 100 of them gains an extra life. If you haven't figured it out yet, it's a Crash Bandicoot clone. And it's a good one at that. With Lilo, you have Voodoo, and Stitch has the standard spin attack, but also has a coffee meter. And by a press of a button, you become nearly invincible for a few seconds, only being able to be dealt damage by explosives and falling into pits. Also, instead of finding Aku Aku masks to have extra hit points, you start with 3 hit points at the start of the level, and losing them all results in losing a life. And in order to progress, you have to find all the photos in each of the levels. Basically, the crystals of this game. So well done, Lilo and Wound Patch. You are a good entry-level platforming game. Let's switch things up a bit for the next game. This time, we'll be focusing on games based on TV shows rather than movies. Starting with Goof Troop. I know that maybe a lot of you have not seen the show, and neither have I honestly, but the series is from the 90s, and it actually is what gave us the introduction to Max. As for the game, this game was made by Capcom, just like some of the NES games I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And even more surprisingly, this game was done none other by Shinji Mikami. Yes, the creator of Resident Evil. How do you go from making a game about a cow with his son acting like Monty Python to creating one of the best horror games in history? It almost seems like it could have been made up, but nope, it's true. So what can I say about the game? Well, it's a top-down adventure game with puzzles to solve and picking up objects to throw at enemies, using keys to open up certain areas, and other items to get items easier. You know what? I like this game. Quite a bit, actually. Reminds me of old school Legend of Zelda, but simpler, so I would recommend giving this game a try. So what other shows got games out of them? There were tons of them, and it would be impossible for them not to be any more of them, right? Wait. Impossible. Impossible. Oh yeah! Kim Possible. Something I must note is that this isn't the only game based on this cartoon. 3 of them were on the Game Boy Advance, 2 of them were for the DS, and then this one is the only one for the PS2. And when I start playing, the cutscenes are 3D animated and look really good for the PS2. Then once I get to the actual game, right off the bat, I'm getting flashbacks to Astro Boy on the same system. And by the way, Nimmy, this is Astro Boy, not Mega Man.
Astro Boy.
But to this game's benefit, I actually prefer this game over Astro Boy. Side-scrolling games on the PS2 doesn't make it a bad game. Astro Boy was just low-quality slop even as a side-scroller. And this game is not only better in the graphics department, but also how the game plays. You have more ways to platform, with light puzzle solving, with gadgets the game gives you as you progress through the game. Plus, some enemies can only be dealt by using them, as well as having to perform some combos in order to get through them. You can't mash your way through this game. That's not what this game is wanting you to do. And look, you even get to play as Shigo. And why is that, I hear you asking? Well, it's because in the first level, Ron and Dr. Draken switch bodies with the artifact known as the Monkey Idol, and then gets stolen by another villain and is against both us and our enemies. So what do? We have to team up to defeat a common conflict. The game is not bad actually. I just wish the menus had a bit more life to it. But the game plays really well outside of that actually. Like, it won't make me move to Montana or something, but it's still an okay game. Wait, hang on. Montana? As in the pop star? Oh no. Wow, my favorite, Palindrome Montana. I can only imagine how much this game is gonna suck. And no, not like modern day Miley Cyrus. Now, even if I was not the target demographic for this show, or even the game for that matter, my brother and I both enjoyed watching it because we just did not care. It could have been seen as a family show anyways. But even then, licensed products were all marketed to girls, and this game toys playing cards that could poison you. Oh wait, Avalanche is back again? I was not expecting that. Maybe this won't be so bad then. Oh, never mind. Look, I know it's impossible to make real life humans look realistic in this era of games, but even then, it could look better than this. Just what does it for me is the hair. It looks so static. It almost looks like they just pasted it in. It almost looks like they're wearing wigs, and Hannah Montana, she wears a wig. And who would have guessed it's a rhythm game? Now, on easier difficulties, the notes are few and far between, but even with that said, the game kinda just overcomplicates things as it is. Instead of being like a DDR game where you use the D-pad to press all of the notes, no. You use both analog sticks to hit the notes. Blue is for the right stick, and pink is for the left. Which, honestly, just confuses you. Even throwing in combo notes that states which sticks you need to push in certain directions. Star means both sticks in, heart means to go up and then rotate to down. Kinda like drawing a heart. And then guitar is pushing both in opposite directions. Now, there is a customization aspect, which is probably where most of the time was spent making this game, and this game was also on the Wii, except it forces motion controls. Just Dance would have been better use of the IP rather than what we got. This would have also made more sense as a DDR game. All this added bullshit isn't needed. It's almost like Jackson created the game just to piss off his sister's fans. And if that's the case, he succeeded. And there is people out there that feel nostalgic for this game, but I just don't see it. The graphics would have been passable if it wasn't for the hair. And if the game had just done a DDR style game on top of the customization, instead of doing this analog stick bullshit, the game would have done a much better job with its gameplay. And it would have also had more challenge to it, just enough that even kids can be happy. Even when I was 6 years old when Guitar Hero came out, it was the expert difficulty that kept me playing. Because it was simple, but also hard to master. That's what this game should have been. But let's move on and get to the next game, which is Wizards of Waverly Place. Get it? Witches? Like witch. So at the start of the game, Alex buys a bracelet labeled 18 plus from the dark web. And remember, this was before we had age verification laws like we are about to have in the near future. Then we head downstairs to learn magic, using the touchscreen by drawing shapes to perform up to 5 spells, learning 3 of them at the start. Then we get to become Jesus by turning water into wine. Sorry, not wine, grape juice. Then we get to start our shift in the Waverly substation, and the game turns into Papa Subria, where we have to make 6 subs and a time limit, though I failed and only made 5. That's mostly because the footage you see here is emulation, and because of that, I have to use my mouse to control the touchpad, which has its own cursor that follows faster than your own cursor. So it's pretty hard to play with. Other than that though, it's just a boring game, and the graphics are what you expect for a DS game. I mean, this does not even look like Selena Gomez. I don't really see a point in playing this past a few minutes. And speaking of games with witches in it, let's play Witch for the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, remember this show? The cartoon about 5 girls with magic powers? Well, I don't either, really. However, the box art for the game more or less resembles the art style of the Italian comic series the show is based on, which the show looked more like this. So, let's boot up the game and give this a go. Why did they think it was a good idea to try to fit this song by bit crushing into the game? They should have just tried to make a mini 8-bit version of it, but nope. They wanted you to hear the song that sounded like they were playing it through the gluttony ring of Beelzebub. The mad music plays throughout the entire game, so I'm going to mute the music. You wanna know something crazy I'm about to say? Minnie is fucking goofy. I mean, besides the music making you want to have a death wish, and yes, that's death wish, not death wish, making you want to wish you were deaf, I kinda like this game. I promise you I'm not a changeling. I promise you, I ain't a changeling. I promise you it's the real me. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not bad either. As a side-scrolling platformer that has multiple ways to progress, as well as using powers from each character that all feel different from each other, and the game does not hold your hand while you play, this game is not bad. Just fair warning, do not play this game if you have arachnophobia. However, if you decide you want to buy this game, it only came out in Europe. It blows my mind that this game is actually decent. It's like I discovered a hidden gem for no reason. Now, this video is almost over, so let's get back to the console games. Starting with Goofy's Funhouse. So the objective of this game is finding video reels, which gives you 6 of the classic Goofy short films. And to do this, you have to interact with everything in every room and play every minigame that there is. It's basically a giant escape room, and everything you find has to go to a certain painting. Then you're ordering of a short film from that painting.
Hence, when Neptune enters the constellation of Piscis, or fishes.
Wait. Have I been pronouncing Pisces wrong this whole time? Hold up.
Pisces.
No, I think it's just they pronounced it in the film wrong, even going as far to pronounce it as a suspicious yellow liquid. What? I didn't piss in my glass. If you do that, that's disgusting. This is lemonade. Ugh. Ugh. Ugh, excuse me. Ugh. It's sour. Hey, look, it's Max's room. Let's see what cool things my son has here. Oh, lovely. A tape underneath Max's bed. Max, what kind of videos have you been hiding from your dad? Hang on, I'm getting a call.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Well, since you asked, it's Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th. This game is basically a point-and-click adventure game where you are the cursor and it's controlling Goofy, interacting with things around you to essentially unlock more areas of the game. So yeah, I kinda like it. Up next is going to be based on a film again. So, to end the video off, let's play Meet the Robinsons. Oh look, our friends at Avalanche are back again. Have they learned from their mistakes from Hannah, Minnesota? Well, let's find out. At the start of the game, we're in an ancient tomb where Wilbur takes a photo of a dead guy, then he sets off a booby trap and... I'm sorry. Booby. He sets off a trap and the whole place starts to collapse. So we gotta run out before Wilbur becomes well buried. Then we return home with the time machine. Now, as much as this movie loves to be taken out of context, I don't think context is gonna save this one. To start with, this game seems like a platformer with gadgets you can use for puzzle solving, which sounds like another clone of Ratchet & Clank again. What makes this difficult for me to understand is that this game has an automatic jumping mechanic, so not much of a platformer and only has gadgets. This ball rolling stage is pretty cool though. It reminds me of the ball rolling stages from Crash Wrath of Cortex. However, it's only a one-time stage from what I could see.
Greetings, pizza eater. Wilbur, you're just the boy I wanted to see.
Why do you sound like Adam West? Oh wait, they're the same actor. May he rest in peace. So because we can't really call this a platformer, this is more like an adventure game with gadgets to use. I don't really know what was going on with the developers' heads when they were thinking of this game. I mean, what are those things? They just hop all around and can't even do anything with them. And they're all over the place. And they leave a pink trail left behind it. And who lets a train speed through a house? I almost got hit by that. If I was any closer, this would have turned into a PSA about staying away from train tracks. And what's this door lead to? Oh well, yes, of course. And with that game done, we're at the end of the video. Yeah, I know I'm missing games such as Epic Mickey, Disney Infinity, but you all know I can't look at every game in one video. We would be here until Walter's head is thawed out in the freezer. Don't worry, I'll be coming back to look at more games in the future. But not after I take some time to look at some other games. I already done Nickelodeon, and now I've done Disney. So it only leaves one more from the trifecta of cartoon/kids shows. And that is Cartoon Network. So that's our next topic. Hope to see you there. And if you liked this video, please smash the like button and subscribe and turn on notifications so you get notified when I upload. And until then, I'll holler at y'all later. Bye bye.